Good morning, welcome to another edition of Take 5. Today we're starting a new chapter, John chapter 11. And I will tell you it's one of my favorites. And if I can get through the whole chapter without crying, it'll be amazing, because I'm pretty sure I will. This is the death and resurrection of one of Jesus' friends, Lazarus. As I said, John 11 verse 1, Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was ill. So the sister sent to him, saying, Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard it, he said, This illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Now wait a minute. Let's read that again. Okay, verse 6. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. That doesn't make sense, does it? Well, let's just keep reading. Verse 7. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. After saying these things, he said to them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go to awaken him. The disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover. Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought that he meant taking rest in sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, Lazarus has died, and for your sake I am glad that I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. So Thomas, called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. Alright, well, here's the deal. Jesus hears Lazarus is sick, but he doesn't go anywhere for a couple days. Then he tells his disciples he's got to go, but he says Lazarus has fallen asleep. Now this was a euphemism for dying, but they thought it just meant he was asleep. So they said, what in the world do you want to bother him for? Let him sleep, he'll get better. So Jesus has to spell it out for him that he's dead. And Thomas, and we know him as Doubting Thomas, because when all the other disciples believed, he said, I'm not going to believe unless I see his hands and his feet. Okay, well here he's kind of a Doubting Thomas too. Let us go to Judea that we may die with him. He's not thinking about any possible miracle that Jesus might be doing, and of course none of them can be prepared for what he's going to do when they get to Bethany. Verse 17, Now when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. So when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, but Mary remained seated in the house. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Alright, I'm going to stop right there. This is take 5. We're going to finish the rest tomorrow, but I just want to say this. Martha is telling Jesus, You're late. You're late. If you'd been here, he wouldn't have died. And give her credit. She believes he would have kept that. She believes Jesus would have been able to heal Lazarus from his sickness. But now it's over. It's all over. And they're mourning. And they're grieving their brother. I told you I wasn't going to make it. It's very sad. This part of the story is very sad. And I'm going to show you Jesus was sad too. But we're going to see that tomorrow. I got to go. I'm sorry. I would love to say more. But we're going to come back tomorrow. Tell me, you want to be here tomorrow. You've got to come back for this passage tomorrow. And I will commit to you, I will be back tomorrow. No matter what, unless the computer messes up. I will be back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.